Apaga la música, prende tu voz. Esto es Acapella, the podcast, hosted by DJ Friqueo and friends.
Yes, we are back. Season 2, episode 3. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all that good stuff. We have an amazing episode tonight with an amazing legend of our music, nuestra música latina, nuestra herencia que tanto celebramos. I don't know if it's still like Spanish Heritage Month. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so, sin más preámbulo, vamos a presentar una persona que es una leyenda en nuestra industria, una persona que ha marcado el camino for lots of new artists and lots of existing artists, and has made her mark definitely in our industry, not only on the Latin side, but also on the dance music side. She's done it all, and I'm super impressed with her career, and I definitely wanted to get her on here and share her story, even though she shared her story many other times. But this is the best show ever, so she's gonna share the story on this particular podcast. And thank you all of us who keep following us on Acapella Podcast and on YouTube, subscribing to our channel. Thank you so much. Pero nada, it's not about me. This is about Brenda K Starr, and she is in the building. In her building, I'm in my building, of course. 2020 edition.
Yeah. How are you? ¿Cómo está, mi amor?
Thank you so much for doing this and coming on, and I know everybody's busy in 2020. I think we're all busier than we were before the pandemic. Like, I don't know if that even makes sense.
Yeah. I think that we're all just trying to stay, consistent and be able to stay relevant, because esta situación está malo con esta pandemia. No, todo el mundo no se pueden salir, no hay ningún discoteca. So to stay more in touch, conectado con la artista, this is the best way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great thing. And I think I've been working crazy hard just to kind of be there up front with the fans, just to let them know we're all going through this together. So music is definitely a healing piece. So.
Well, welcome to the Acapella Podcast. Este podcast is in Spanglish. This is the rules of engagement here. Nosotros hablamos inglés.
Okay.
Y cuando se nos olvida las palabras, we flip it back in English because, then we're like, well, how do you, we're just do that Latino thing. And we're vibing. So how did you get the name Starr? Like, to your last name. How did you get that Brenda K Starr? I always wanted to know that.
Well, nació y crió in New York. My mother's Puerto Rican and my father's Israeli. And mi apellido, the real last name is Kaplan before I got married. And my dad is Israeli, and so I kept the K because it's for my last name. And Starr because siempre mi mamá en la casa siempre haciendo, shows de talento. So, in the espejo with my brush singing, and she was always saying, "Oh, you're gonna be a star when you grow up." And then when we went to a recording studio one day, the guy told my mom, "You have something really special in her voice. You should really push her." And that's when my mom was like, "You could be a star. You'd be Brenda Starr." And I was like, "Brenda K Starr." So I ended up keeping it like that.
It sounds pretty dope. It sounds pretty dope. So I did my homework, and I didn't know this about you. You were a break dancer.
Oh yeah, for muchos años. I think more or less for like 7 years. I grew up in the White Tower Project, so for us, cada fin de semana I would go down to the park and bailar. We would do I was more like a pop locker. I didn't like to do the footwork because I was one that wouldn't do well with like spinning on my back, and I didn't even want to try the head thing, but most of the time I was just more like, when you do the pop lock and stuff like that.
Yeah, damn, you still got the swag though. You still got the swag. Eso nunca se le va, and that never, like, I know so many break dancers and you never lose that. They still, I went to somebody's birthday party the other day, and this dude just started breakdancing, and dude's like,
the Michael Jackson moonwalking.
Yeah, so I'm like, this shit never, like, these dudes never forget. It's just part of your DNA. Becomes that.
Yeah, well, it's part of us growing up too. That's right. Yep.
Yeah, and then
it all began.
And then you were in the movie. What was the breakdancer movie you were in? Beach Street.
Mm-hmm.
I would get breaking and Beach Street confused. It was
yeah, and Crush Group.
Damn. Oh, you were in Crush Group too?
No, I wasn't in Crush Group, but I'm saying all three movies were about breakdancing. But I was in a movie. John Giavasa, he produced the movie Rocky, El Boxeador Rocky,
Yeah.
and it had a movie that was called Slow Dancing in the Big City, and I played a tomboy. I was like about 12 or 13. I started out acting, then I got into like more dancing, but I always used to go to like Roxy's on the weekends and dancing to be teen night. So I used to practice with a group. I used to be in the Dynamic Dolls.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
where I started breaking. Yep.
You and then I watched the scene from the movie where you're on stage singing, and the first thing that came to my head when I saw it, you look so confident doing it. It's like you were destined for the role, and you were destined that you knew what you wanted to do all along because you seem to be. Although it is acting, it is a movie, and you're getting filmed, but it is. You seem extremely comfortable and almost like tú tenías el dominio of what you were doing.
Yeah, siempre en mi vida yo quería ser un cantante. For me, cuando me ofrecieron la oportunidad por estar en el movie de Beat Street, fue algo muy especial para mí because I'm a young girl coming from a single mother of a family of 7. Y para tener la oportunidad para vivir mis sueños, I wasn't only like rapping and dancing in a movie, I got a chance to sing in the movie, and I wrote, fue compositor de esa canción, Vicious Beat. So I wrote that song.
Oh.
And I knew that when I was going to be, or even if I was able to get into the movie, that I was going to live the part only because it was basically about auditioning. And that's exactly what I did on a norm to get in it. So for me, por estar en la tarima haciendo lo que a mí me gustaría hacer, it was almost like, estaba viviendo mis sueños. So right then and there, I didn't even really feel or see the cameras in front of me. I almost felt like it was more just a performance.
Like you were performing, yeah.
Right,
That's what it looked
right.
like. And like I said, then the first thing that I thought of was like, wow, ella era tan joven and, really not with a lot of experience performing and doing all that stuff. I'm like, she seems so like she owned the role, like she owned the part.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
I tried, but
Yeah, well, listen, it looked good. I don't know if you see that and you're like, damn, I messed up right there. But to me, it sounds amazing and it looks amazing.
Thank you. I always laugh when I see that movie because I think about the outfit I wore, my big hair. But I guess back then that was what was in style. But I remember it was my mom who styled me, and I thought I was so bad. I had these cool overalls with a ripped sweatshirt and like short boots, and then I had a mullet. And then I look back, I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
It looks good. I got it. It looked good for the time. Yeah, it did look amazing.
Yeah, no, but it was a great time, and it's definitely something to go down as a mark in history for me in my career because it's where a donde yo empezaron mi carrera. So where I started, it was just basically there on Beach Street.
You were also a radio jock. Tell me about that. Yeah, I read up on that too. I'm like, radio jock. Coño, pero eso no lo hablan. Eso no lo hablan en la entrevista. You were a radio jock. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I got my first, me presentó con un contrato at 102.7 Fresh FM. And that was like, it was a weekend gig. I would only work on Sundays. It was Under the Stars with Brenda K Starr. And I would play like just mid-tempo and some up-tempos, not many ballads. And it was more just like to have a fun and people would call and dedicate songs. I loved it porque siempre dijeron que sí, cuando yo tengo que retirarme de la música, quiero ser una locutora. So I said, why not go and try and take advantage of this experience? And I have to tell you, even to date, I would love to retire radio. I worked at Sirius XM for 92, Mundo 92. I worked at 105.1. I'm out here in Jersey. I did a couple of fill-ins for 103.5 KTU. So, I mean, it's been a great experience, but I think that, no creo que vas a retirarme de la música, but definitely have para tener otra oportunidad because of the fact that I have the experience. I love it. The only thing I don't like to do is work the board. And the only reason is because I feel I'm more connected with the people when they're calling in. I'm looking for the great music. And I really just like to really pay attention to having a good time. So I like it from the work the board. And that feeling so that's pretty hard.
Yeah, you know that, in the whole pandemic too, I came out with a joke, because now we couldn't really be in contact with people and we really couldn't have anybody, come over and help us do this show. So I came up with this thing called Nosotros Mismos Productions. So
Okay, so
when
you
people
know some
when people when people ask like, "Óyeme, ¿quién te corre las luces?" Nosotros mismos. ¿Quién corre la
It's true.
¿Quién corre the board?
No tener
Nosotros
ningún
mismos.
personal.
¿Quién
No,
edita? Nosotros mismos.
nosotros mismos.
So,
But you know what? You don't have to give nobody else. Nosotros mismos gets the money. No tengo que pagar a ningún persona para trabajar para ti.
yeah,
No,
but yeah, I agree with you.
total.
Yeah, running the board and just minding everything else while this is going on. I'd rather just give the focus on the guests and work and so getting the help. Thank God that now we're a little more comfortable being around each other and people come and help out. But yeah, it was nosotros mismos for a while.
Nosotros mismos for a long while.
Yeah,
even
yeah.
now, even over here. I mean, where are you located at?
I'm in Jersey. We gotta do this out of Jersey. So yeah, I'm in
So
North Jersey.
I'm in Jersey too. So for me, all my work has been here. I just recently been stepping into the studio with my engineer to work on the new album. And to be honest with you, we both get nervous. I have my mask on, so I hit the vocal booth, and I'm there with Lysol, Pine Sol now, because everybody está mencionando que Pine Sol que se mata 99% de COVID. So for me, I'm like, okay, I'll get some Pine Sol. But, it's still dangerous. It's everything. Listen, I don't know if you know of Marcelino Ramos. He was a very good promoter. He worked with RMM for years. Él estaba trabajando con Ralphie Mercado. He's worked with Mark Anthony. Haciendo los bookings in Chicago for a bunch of people. He just passed away of COVID day before yesterday.
Wow.
And it was all of a sudden. And, people really take this, for granted. No se ponen las máscaras que salen en las calles. Se va para, disfrutar a tiempo in the bars and stuff. But in realidad, it's still peligroso. People really need to start pensando because this is never going to change. And we're never going to be able to do shows. But more than that, we're never going to be able to get back to normalcy. But,
yeah. Do you
That's why I'm okay with nosotros mismos.
Do you think that there's going to be, you don't think that we're ever going to go back and do like large scale gatherings, like concerts or any of that type of thing?
I really don't foresee it for a while, just because of the fact that right now we still haven't even descended on that curve. There's still a lot of chemistry stuff. Scientists are putting stuff together to try to find a cure, and even the vaccine isn't disponible right now. People are still waiting. And it for right now, I really don't think so. And with all actuality, I would hope that we still continue to keep our distance and work hard to, pay close attention to how, dangerous this is. And instead of foreseeing it as, I'm going to get out for a night, have a good time, just remember that one chance may screw everything else up. But I don't really see it anytime soon. I mean, I miss performing. Doing stuff virtual is good for me. But, the close-up contact stuff is what I really love.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why they're doing a lot of events right now that are in outdoor parking lots, but we're away from them. But the other people are next to each other. That's the only thing that I fear is you're coming to see me, but you're still putting yourself at risk. So it's kind of scary.
Yeah, no,
so I don't know. I
agree.
I wish soon it would.
There's a lot of virtual concerts going on right now. People are doing a lot of these virtual concerts. Have you ever considered that? Maybe doing something like that where you're performing, say, out of your garage or something.
Tonight.
Oh, you do?
I have one tonight for Peru.
Oh shit! Oh, nice.
So I'm
nice.
doing one tonight, and it's for what is it? Organizations of it's like for like orphans and donating money to this organization to fund the kids with like clothing and toys and books and all their necessities, just because people need.
Yeah.
And people are not working, so tonight is kind of like a telethon type of thing, and obviously we don't get compensated, which I'm fine for that, because it's fine to give back. It's not always about money.
Yeah.
Right now, we all need to come together. So I made myself disponible, and I'm gonna perform tonight. So it should be a really great time. I think I'm gonna do like 4 songs, maybe 3-4 songs.
Yeah. And what was your schedule like before COVID? Were you working? Were you doing a lot of gigs and stuff like that, like here in the States and overseas? Because I see you.
Yeah. You could say, what were you saying? I'm sorry about this.
Yeah. No, I saw you were doing some right before the COVID stuff. I would see you were working.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always active, haciendo muchas presentaciones, after, saliendo y viajando para Sudamérica, to Peru. I go to, Costa Rica, and now I'm, me estaba ofreciendo para ir de promoción, para presentaciones en Ecuador. So that should be nice, but ahora no podemos ir because of the pandemia. So
Yeah.
I way before I had tons of shows. I mean, I was always booked. I was doing a lot of stuff in the city. I was doing stuff in Chicago, Washington, Boston, Florida. I mean, Chicago is a big place for me too. I haven't been to Texas much, but I've always get a lot of calls for Texas, Florida, California. But, all of a sudden, all the shows that were lined up for the past 6-8 months have all been canceled. And we're pretty much, as artists, we're just surviving, and thank God. I thank God every day that, I'm good. I have a roof over my head. My children are eating, and we're still able to provide for our family, and they see stars and they think, oh, they're rich. But no, we all work, and we're all losing our income due to this whole pandemic thing. But as long as I'm alive and my family's good, and
that's all that matters.
Food on the table, a roof over our head, we're good.
Yeah, that's really all that matters. So just to give people a little bit of history, people maybe, we have a lot of relatively young audience. Some people, perhaps I want to get your history. So just take me back a little bit to your first single. Obviously we all know I Still Believe. We know your hit. We know that smash classic. But your first single, what was the first single that you did released?
It was Picking Up the Pieces of a broken dream, picking up pieces of my heart. Remember that one? And then I had What You See Is What You Get, baby. Had that one. Then I went into Breakfast in Bed. No, I Still Believe came out.
Yeah.
Then I had Breakfast in Bed. And then I got signed to Epic Records. And then I just started releasing like By Heart. Rick Wade produced that. Diane Warren produced By Heart, the album By Heart. And then I ended up getting offered a deal at 26 actually, in Platano Records, Platano Parcha, to start
Pepe.
Una carrera, Pepe Marta, right?
Yeah.
Para cantar en salsa, que me ofrecieron un contrato a los 16, 17 años. And there is, a donde yo comenzaron mi carrera de la música de salsa. Pero anteriormente, mi trayectoria de la música inglés was Mirage Atlantic Records, and then after Mirage Atlantic Records, I ended up having a deal with MTA Records, and then I went to Epic Records with Tommy Mottola, and then after there I was with Sony Disco. Well, I went to Pacha first, then I went to Sony.
Yeah. Now before you started doing the salsa stuff, and we'll touch on that, when you're doing dance music and you're doing all this the American stuff, right now, as far as like all the residual stuff that you do, the gigs and all that stuff, ¿cómo es el balance ahora? Do you do like mostly Latin? Do you get out? Because there was somebody I interviewed and they were like saying that they still do a little bit of both. Although do you do some dance stuff still?
Yeah, well, if I'm hired for a gig and they'll say, come and sing your old school, your English or your pop stuff, it's kind of hard because they try to get you like that and they really want you to do both.
Yeah.
And they get a great deal because it depends on what you're doing, because you have a band and some you do trap. But with all actuality, I do a bilingual show now, just because it's easier for my audience, because I'm being followed in the American and the Latin market.
Yeah.
So it gives me visibility to both markets and la oportunidad para cantar todos los éxitos de inglés y todos los éxitos en español. Y todo el mundo está gozando con mi presentación. So for me, whatever works is how I kind of get it billed as a performer.
Yeah. No, that's amazing though, because you literally cater to two audiences. I mean, you have a lot of crossover in your fans. I love. There's a record that you did. Se llama Cuba el Mariachi by Mariachi. That's
that was a great.
That's a dope ass record.
That was supposed to be a single. I think they released it and it was overseas, like for clubs, like for Italy and all that. But we didn't release it here as a single. It was just put out on a compilation. I wish they really did, because I've performed it a couple of times in my shows.
Yeah.
And the crowds go crazy because that's an old school song. It's really just a remake.
Yeah, and then you had another joint, Hold Me, right?
I wrote that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
George Cali, George Cali es él es el productor de esa canción. And I wrote that song. We were actually thinking about bringing it out on the new English album and getting a remix out of it.
Yeah, that's a dope ass record too. And then you got the other joint with what was the other joint I was listening to? The one with KRS-One and ¿cómo se llama
Uh,
the reggae guy? I forget his name.
I don't remember his name, but I remember the one KRS-One, and ooh, I don't even know the words to that. I literally learned that song the day I was in the studio. So if you would even ask me to perform it, I'd probably be like, "How does that song go again?"
Yeah,
I mean, I love KRS-One, but
you wouldn't. Yeah,
tantos años cantando en inglés, cantando en español, doing stuff for rap, doing stuff for Broadway. So for me, there's so much versatility, and and it's just my choice of music is very eclectic. So I have so many different sounds that I like that I appeal to. So I did that record with KRS-One, but like I said, I learned it that day, and then I did a duet with Nino Segarra. So it's like I'm always fluctuating back and forth.
yeah. No, it's and so now tú grabando música americana y música en español. Is there a choice? Is there one that you lean more towards the other, or you just like both, or you like what you're feeling at the moment?
Que yo no tengo preferencia, de verdad, because for me, la música is like everybody enjoys it. So I do it because that's the gift that I have, and I never take it for granted. But I love to express myself in both languages. I don't have a favorite one because um, I feel like the emotion and the passion will always be in the English as well as the Spanish. I think one voice is one voice. It's just how you directively approach the songs and what you're doing in terms of living the lyrics. So I mean, I love them both. I can't say I have a preference.
Okay, that's fair because I think that hay mucha gente que um, they bring elements of the some of the American stuff and they bring it into the Latin stuff, right? It's like like I interviewed Frankie Negron not so long ago, and he had influences from like doo wop and he had those types of sounds as his influences when he was first starting to sing. And he used to
Right.
sing it, and he brought that into like, Princesa. He brought it into to like Mulata. If you hear those records, they had that doo-wop sound. So what were your influences like when you were like, who did you listen to? Who did Brenda K Starr, someone who really
My,
goes on both markets?
my influence, I would definitely tell you, would be urban R&B, which would be Tina Marie. I used to love Square Biz. I used to love Fire and Desire. I'd love to listen to Diana Ross just because of her glamour and the way she would just approach the stage. I just felt like she was just like beautiful up there. And I mean, in terms of like Elton John, Barbara Streisand, just loving the way she was just so original. In Spanish and it's I always loved Donna Summer. I used to always be in the mirror singing Donna Summer all the time. But in terms of like male figures, I would say Elton John, Frank Sinatra. I mean, I even loved the Spinners growing up. My dad was in the group, the Spiral Staircase.
Spiral
Barbie
Staircase.
King, the Spiral Staircase. So I knew all the old music, but those were I was more influenced by R&B. But I did listen to a lot of old music because my dad was a musician. In terms of Spanish, I would say like Hector Lavoe, Frankie Negron. I mean Frankie Ruiz. Frankie Negron is great. He's our new generation.
Yeah.
I would say, just El Gran Combo, Celia Cruz, Vito Puente, the way he used to do mambo and all that. And I figured just because my mom played it a lot at home, so we were able to have the best of both worlds. But now I would say artists that I listened to in my 30s and 40s, I was listening to Luther Vandross, Whitney Houston. I was listening to, Prince, Michael Jackson. So, and the country, Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton is dope, man.
People.
People sleep on Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton is the shit.
I love her. I love country music. Stapleton, very big fan of Stapleton.
Dope.
Stapleton, yeah. So our household has a lot of eclectic music. We really just don't try to listen to one particular sound. So for me, I think I was influenced very, very much by R&B and soul.
Yeah, a lot of good traditional stuff and quality stuff too. You were influenced by.
Remember Angela Bofield?
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
And yes, very big fan of hers. Anita Baker, Rapture of Love. I was always having that in my household all day, just singing to her.
What about Blondie? You ever listen to Blondie?
Yes.
Blondie was the shit.
Color Me. Color Me is a great song to redo. I was actually thinking about doing that on my English album.
Yeah.
To redo Color Me.
Yeah, my joint
was Color Me, it's Call Me, my bad.
Yeah, my joint was The Tide Is High from Blondie. That was my
joint. The Tide?
The Tide Is High. The Tide is high. Yeah. Yeah, that was my joint, man. Damn. I still listen to that record. Yeah. Yeah, it's such a dope ass melody like that record got.
Oh, that is a vibe. That's a nice idea.
Yeah. Hey, nosotros mismo production. Nosotros mismo production.
You're alone.
So,
I got you.
Yeah, all right. So all right. So then your salsa switch up when you got signed to Plátano. When that was like in 97, 98, por ahí, ¿verdad?
97.
97.
No, maybe say I got signed about 96.
So
96. So then my son was born in 90. Yeah, 96, 97.
Yeah. So ¿qué te hizo cambiar a salsa when you were doing all this English, all this American stuff? You just woke up one day and said, "I'm gonna do salsa."
No, it actually happened by mistake. Tuve la oportunidad to go to a convention in Cannes, in Paris, and I was there, and there was an individual that recognized me and asked me why wasn't I singing, because I had taken like 3 years off, and I was just writing songs for a company called Dance for Distribution. And I was just, haciendo compositor de, haciendo canciones. And, he said, would you like to fly out and come and represent all your songs you've written? Maybe people will pick them up. And I was like, sure. So he offered me Jeffrey Collins, the head of the company from JSR Distribution, to go fly out there. I got everything was paid expenses. I had my own room. Anyway, long story short, I was there promoting my songs. And the guy goes, why are you here promoting your songs? Why aren't you singing them? I'm like, because I was selling them to other artists. I wasn't only doing it for me. And he's like, and I was like, I don't know. I just feel like the English market is just kind of getting staggered for me. And he's like, so why don't you try Spanish and then just hop back into English? I said, no, I would love to do Spanish, but I'm not fluent in Spanish. He goes, I want you to meet my uncle. You sang I Still Believe in Spanish. Sing it to him. I want him to meet you. He owns his own record label, which was Pepe and Marca.
Wow.
And I went to their booth. And I met them, and then he's like, Brenda K Starr, and he's like, listen to this, and he's like, sing I Still Believe in Spanish. I started singing it, and they were out there purposely looking for an artist to put on their label, and they end up having a meeting with me and giving me a deal, knowing que yo no podía hablar mucho español. Y ella me dijo, no te preocupes, no te preocupes. My mother was like, yo lo puedo enseñar, voy a ser la maestra. My mother just wanted me to sing. She didn't want me to give up, and she always, siempre me estaba empujando para cantar la música en español, en salsa. Pero for me, fueron tan difíciles porque no fue mi primer idioma. Siempre hablaba en inglés, and now I would turn around and speak in Spanish, go back to English again. So I wasn't as good, not fluent. So they said they didn't mind. So I took a trip to Puerto Rico, and Humberto Ramirez produced my album, Te Sigo Esperando, and I literally studied. The only way that I was able to do the Spanish transition was I used to write the words in phonetic spelling, so that I would be able to pronounce it correctly.
Yeah.
I understood what the lyrics were, sí que entendió toda la letra de la canción, yo tenía que cantarlo, sentirlo, etc. But what I needed to do is make sure that I didn't have that New Rican accent. So thank God I learned, and que me recibieron el público con los brazos abiertos, with, sin saber, because for me, this was a risk, estaba tratando de hacer algo diferente, y no me conocieron. So for me, I was like, okay, let me see how this is going to go. And lo and behold, I thank God, it ended up being a #1 record, Herida. And from there, it just catapulted. And, hasta todavía, we still have the opportunity to cantar in English, and in Spanish is just taking off. And now the English is taking off as well, because I'm doing such great things with writers and producers and preparing for that. I'm excited.
Yeah. And then you had your run. I mean, you had an amazing record. The Herida record was a crazy record. I mean, that's an amazing record. Then you had your run, and now you went independent, right? At one point, and
I actually started my own label, which is Star Records. Esa es mi casa disquera. And I have had it for about 3 years, 4 years maybe, but I started it on my own. I was my only artist on the label. And then I got a young girl named Haley Gray, who's kind of like a Billie Eilish type of vibe. And right now she's just finished her album, and she's waiting to put out a single. Well, she's just not sure when because she's finishing up her schooling. And for me, it's very important that you get an education. So she wanted to make sure education was a priority. She finished the album. So when she's done graduating, we
Yeah.
promote it, we put singles out. I decided to take a risk and play it for a friend of mine. It's a song that I just written by Boy Piloto, and he took it to Ecuador. And Ecuador, Sony, which is Sony Latino, they picked up my label, which is Star Records, distributed by Sony Latino. So it's been a nice jump and a great adventure. But I've worked so hard to put this whole, situation into perspective.
Yeah.
I wanted it, and I worked really, really hard.
Yeah. And then at your peak, when you were in salsa, there were other people in salsa, other acts. You came on the scene, and we had other female artists on the scene, such as La India and other female artists. What was cómo te recibieron esos artistas? Because like you see a lot of rivalry when it comes, especially when someone new comes in. And we see it now with Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. We see the and Cardi B sort of became a threat to Nicki Minaj, and
Yeah.
y se armó un revolú ahí, un sancocho. And ¿cómo te trataron a ti las otras artistas femeninas en el género de la salsa?
I mean, Olga Tañón, salsa. Well, Choco Horta treats me like an angel. She's just an amazing woman, so very talented. And I love the fact that she's just so open para darme las manos cuando necesito algo, or even para consejos. She's great people. On the other hand, I mean, Celia Cruz is very nice to me. When I met her, there was no animosity, nothing. I've known La India since the English music. She's not a fan of mine, and I'm okay with that because we were friends prior. But I decided to jump into the business, and I wanted to try something different. And I don't think she's jealous of me. I'm not jealous of her. I think we both are very talented. I actually think she has a very good voice. I was always a fan because we were friends before. We were business colleagues, and she sang and I sang in Spanish. But I think that there's a time in your life where maybe she just, I don't know, she just decided that she didn't want, anything to do with me as an artist per se, or as a friend, because we got set up on a call one day on a radio station.
I heard the call.
And it
Yeah.
was something that wasn't right, because I felt that the radio station could have did it a different way, but it was done how it was done. So it almost made it seem like I was chiming in on her interview, which I wasn't, which I would never do that. But she ended up being very vocal about how she didn't like me and how I couldn't sing. And for me, I think there's room para todo el mundo para cantar la música de salsa.
Yeah.
Todo el mundo tiene su talento. I don't not like her because I've known her for years and we were great friends, and she is a great person. I just think it was maybe a bad day for her, but the disrespect there was not fair. And I was wrong. I did come out and call her Porky, which I think I was defensive, and it wasn't right of me, because no one should be mocked about the way they look, because that's not nice. You don't do that.
Yeah.
But because I was so defensive, it made me look like I was lowering myself. And do I wish that I could change that? But I can't, because I didn't call them, they called me.
Yeah.
And I was set up. But do I regret the fact that she doesn't like, am I upset at the fact that she doesn't like me? Listen, if you don't like me, then there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of other people that do like me.
Yeah.
And if you ever in your right mind want to come and say sorry for the way you came across, and I can apologize for the way I came across, for saying, and I am sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I was just being defensive. I was being picked on, and I didn't think it was fair. We're grown adults. With that being said, it ends up escalating and getting cursed out, and people will hear the interview, and I was just like, I kept it the way it was. I was wrong to call Porky, but there's a lot of other things that she said that were mean to me, and I just kind of was heartbroken, because we were very good friends. I love her mother. We used
Yeah.
to hang out at Heartthrobs. We used to be very good friends. But now, you know what? I wish her nothing but the best. I want to do what I want to do, and I'm loving
Yeah.
what I do. I got a great song written by Jorge Piloto, El Pesuero por la Boca, because anybody that talks trash about you and mistreats
Yeah.
you should learn that, you know, it's not the right way to be with anyone. Everybody
Absolutely.
should respect each other because we are all given a God-given talent. If we're able to do what we do, like cantar la música, you know, sing it for the Lord, sing it however you want to sing it. But you know what? Ain't nobody competition here because you
Yeah.
know what? You're doing you. Listen, I love her work, and I
Yeah.
cannot say enough about it. Do love her work, love Mark Anthony's work, love Olga Tañon's work. But to be honest, I just feel like the way Victor Manuel and Tito Nieves gets along, the way Mark Anthony and Tito Nieves and this one and Daddy Yankee and Jay Ballin, you know, everybody's supposed to get along. We're musicians. We
Yeah.
need to connect the world with our music. It's not about being childish and being set up on a radio. But it was done and it was distasteful and we never spoke again. But I
Yeah.
wish her nothing but the best.
Yeah.
And all I want to do with me is keep moving forward.
Yeah, I think, I think that, yo sé, because I've seen it in other areas too, not just music. Tú tienes una bodega y viene un primo tuyo que now
Yep.
quiere abrir una bodega down the street. Now all of a
Not
sudden,
taquina, not taquina, you're right.
now it's a problem
Y
because,
tan celoso y tan diciendo mentira. That's why it says, sigue hablando tú sola que el pez muere por la boca.
yeah, so,
Right?
yeah, no,
Hablando,
absolutely.
hablando, because it's karma. It's bad. You don't
Yeah.
talk about someone.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. It's in the business. It's in if you're a doctor. Now maybe if you're a lawyer or just a regular job, or you think you have a friend and that friend's supposed to be your boy or your girl or whatever, and they're talking behind your back. And you know what? It all's gonna come back and you're gonna realize you're wrong. You know?
And there's also the threat feeling. Like I said, I mentioned the Cardi B and the Nicki Minaj because it's like all of a sudden this person was reigning for a little bit and they're the only focus of attention y llega otra persona to add another flavor because no hay un movimiento con una sola persona. One person can't make a movement. Multiple artists make the movement. That's why reggaeton is the way it is. And these guys, they understood that. And when reggaeton started to die out, like in the late 90s, when the playero stuff came out in the mid 90s, and then they started like beefing and they were like, listen, guys, no, cuando estás peleando, no vamos a ganar nada. So they got together, started collaborating, started doing features with each other, and mira donde está reggaeton hoy. So they understood that. They took a book. Yeah, they took a page out of the hip hop book, doing all the collaborations. Let me help you. You help me. You get on my record. I get on your record. Y yo pienso de que en la música tropical, no solamente en la salsa, mira, en la bachata, en el merengue. El merengue is pretty much, también.
Yeah, I did something with Dominique Marte. We did a duet together.
Oh, nice.
It's a good thing because everybody needs to work together.
Absolutely. That's the only way. Yeah.
It's sad because there's only two of us. I mean, there's Choco. She's also a great artist. I shouldn't say that because there's plenty Salseras out there. But I think that we have always been the focus. And just because, I mean, Celia Cruz is always going to be La Reina.
Yeah.
For me, I don't need a title to do what I love. It's just about making the public happy. And like I said, I wish so many people would not associate me with that day because that day was not a day that I was expecting to happen, and it did ruin. We were friends when we were younger, but I guess as we got older and after I started doing the music things, the friends situation with her just kind of it wasn't the same for her anymore, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But just the way that the radio did it, I didn't think it was right.
So ahora, esta es la pregunta del millón. Si se presenta la oportunidad, would you do a record with La India?
I mean,
don't make me drop the bomb on you. I got the bomb, the Funk Flex bomb right here.
You know what? I would rather her and I eventually, if time gave, it's up. Listen, I'm not even talking about the music. And I just want her to be woman enough, as a woman as I am, because I got kids, I got grandkids. That hatchet should be buried. I don't need to be your best friend, but put that behind you. In terms of doing a record together, I mean, I wouldn't do it. And I'll tell you why I wouldn't do it, because I don't sing with someone who says, I can't sing.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So if you think I can't sing, I don't need to lend you my talent.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, moving along. Uh, no te voy, oye, I'm not going to drop the bomb. You know, I know people love the bomb cuando hay un medio de controversia y I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone. But thank you for explaining that because, yo no quise traer ninguna controversia ni preguntar eso para crear controversia because that's not what we do here. Pero, it's always good to get the other person's side. And especially that somebody finds this interview on YouTube and whatnot, it's always good to hear what the other person felt and what, maybe in that moment. And we all grow. At the end of the day, we all grow. We all move on. We all say, you know what? It's done. Whatever. I don't need to be your friend. You don't need to be mine. It's cool. But I always feel that, y eso pasa mucho con nosotros los artistas latinos because te digo que una persona, te lo digo de nuevo, no crea un movimiento. Si hay 5 La India, 5 Brenda K Starr, 5, it's better for salsa. It's better.
Exactly.
It's better because now you have different flavors. If you can inspire the next Brenda K Starr that's perhaps in her basement at 15 years old, right now on the come up.
Yeah, well, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be the people that set an example so the younger generation se pueden crecer y cantar en salsa, cantar en inglés y se pueden ver en realidad que hay muchas oportunidades por la juventud. It don't matter where you come from. There's always going to be una oportunidad para vivir sus sueños. We did it. She came from the Bronx. I came from Manhattan. So it's always a chance.
Yeah. So speaking of another female, let's transition. We all know the Mariah Carey story. I don't want to even get into it because in every interview, okay, you handled the demo and blah blah blah, and then now So anybody looking at this right now, you can go look it up. How Mariah Carey got started, and Brenda K Starr was the person that, pretty much opened those doors. Y ya lo dejamos ahí. But my question is for you is, what is your relationship with Mariah Carey today?
She's my oldest daughter's godmother, Kayla. I haven't spoken to Mariah in quite some time. She went and married Nick and started having children, her twins. And we haven't spoken for a long time. I did go to one of her shows, which she knew I was there. And, I was supposed to go backstage, but honestly, I just felt like, when there's just so many people there, you want to just see each other and spend time with each other. It was so hard. So what I did is I messaged her and I let her know that I saw the show. It was an excellent show. But you know what? I love Mariah and I'm so proud of her. And just looking at everything I did to make her part of history and music is just such a blessing. And I believe that the Lord puts us in a place at the right time for the right reason. And I was there just to help her. And, and I always wish her nothing but the best. But our relationship is still the same. We just don't hang out with each other. I do me and she's with her family. And, she's back and forth in different places, LA, New York. But, I'm so happy for her,
Dope.
I'm glad that I made it happen, That was a good thing.
Yeah. American Idol, your daughter auditioned for American Idol.
Right.
What was that like for you, seeing your daughter go through that journey?
I mean, it was almost like mirror image. Because, mirando a mi hija cantando and preparando por las presentaciones and haciendo sus ensayos, me tenía muy emocionada. Because you look at her and you're like, oh my God, that's me all over again. And I knew how she breathed music. And I knew this is what she wanted since very young, because I used to mentor kids in music. And one day she was like, you always let them sing. She said to me, you're sleeping on me. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I want to sing too. And I said, then sing to me. She's like, okay. And then she put Hurt by Christina Aguilera. I was like, wow. And then just watching her from like this little 6-year-old girl all the way to a 13-year-old girl. She was an X Factor. She was top 40 at age 13. And not everybody knows that, but if you go on Gianna Isabella X Factor, you see her at 13 years old. She was top 40 and she sang Listen by Beyonce. And she got a really great critique from Simon and all the other judges.
Oh, wow.
Then when she did American Idol, she was 15. And it was a good experience for her because it taught her how to be even more diligent about her music and rehearsing and preparation. And she loves it to date right now. She's writing songs. She has 2 songs out. She has Feel the Same The first one was Nights with You, got over 500,000 streams. And then Feel the Same is just come out about maybe a month. And now they're doing all the press and all the giveaways. So, I'm happy for her.
Is she also on your label too, or she's on her own independent?
Oh, no, she's with Eminem. It's like an Eminem company. It's a management and development. So what we do is we put the record out on the label. We've been doing it all independently. And we oversee it as her parents. And obviously she's 21, but we still oversee it because we know the business. Yeah. And the intentions are to continue to build the streams and build the fan base and have it listened up to all type of radio. She just got added to San Francisco Radio 103, I think it's 105.3. But just to get the streams and then have it distributed by a major. So that's the next thing Gianna's going to do.
That's pretty dope. So now you, as far as your record label and all that stuff, like when now you have all your stuff set up, and now any records, because do you have all your masters and your publishing, all that stuff? How does that set up for you?
In terms of the publishing, anything that I write, I keep all my published. I'm in the middle of redoing a lot of the albums that I had done with MCA and Atlantic. And I'm going to be redoing the songs and transposing them. Obviously, I was only 13, 15, 16, 17. So your voice changes. So just transposing them and owning the masters. In terms of my publishing, I didn't get my publishing when I was younger because I didn't write any of the stuff. I was, some of the writers on some of the stuff. I had a publishing deal with Sony. So I'm still covered with my Sony publishing deal in terms of getting my payments. And I'm lucky to know the publishing end of it. That's why the deal that my daughter has is a great deal because I've taught her about publishing. But yeah, publishing is definitely something that's a blessing through Sound Exchange. It's a great company that a lot of artists don't know about. Sound Exchange is a great company. And then you have Sound Royalties, which is a company, it's like a bank. And they pretty much fund all your productions for you to be able to, pagar el estudio para salir y hacer las presentaciones. So it's a funding for touring, for everything, recording. So I highly recommend Sound Royalties.
Nice.
Sound Exchange is another company that makes sure we get paid.
Yeah.
But I literally learned that the last years when I almost got bit. Somebody was collecting on my behalf. And
because
a nice big tax note. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't get that money. And I realized it was going to someone else, but that someone else had to reimburse me with all the publishing is stolen, and now I get all my publishing.
Amazing. See, that's the other thing for a lot of new artists that they need to understand, and then we speak to a lot of young artists here, and then we tell them, make sure that you're publishing, make sure all your stuff is all aligned.
It's very easy too for them. They should also look into a company called ASCAP and BMI.
Yeah.
Those are two, and there's also ASAC. ASAC, I think it is. CSAC, my bad, CSAC. And these are publishing companies. Yeah. And all you need to do is download the information, do what you have to do, and then what you're going to do is every song they write, you're just going to log in. It's almost like they're logging in their book or their checkbook. You're going to log in your song. If you wrote 100% of your song, what you did for the music, and it's getting logged in so that nobody can steal your music.
Yeah.
Once they steal your music and you don't have any evidence that you own your publishing, you'll get zero.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think the future of salsa is? I've had a lot of people here, like radio people. I've had other artists, producers. La música tropical ahora mismo no está en el mejor momento. La música urbana, lo que es el reggaeton, dembow, and all these other urban sounds, they're in the forefront, right? Like Sergio George said, they're the driver right now. What do you feel that it needs? A lot of people tend to, a lot of traditional artists tend to blame the radio. They say, "Oh, no me tocan en la radio, so por eso que no estoy sonando, no estoy tocando." I've gotten different answers from different artists. I just want to know cuál es tu posición y cuál es tu pensamiento, because now we are in the digital era. We are in the era of the Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, all that business. And how much will you rely on radio to promote your new record, which is amazing, by the way? How much will you rely on that versus the new methods?
Well, in terms of the new methods, I think I've been going that route, and I've been doing well, thank God. And I mean, a lot of the DJs that play on the internet radio me están apoyando como no sencillo. Mandando tanto mensaje, todos mis seguidores say, wow, it's a great song, the DJs. And to be honest with you, I also look at the club DJs. I mean, they're important because, we have the club DJs, the record pools, the radio guys, and then the mainstream radios, like the really big radio stations, even from the XMs when they don't play you. But you know what? For me, I'm going to keep, putting gas in my tank until I make it on every station. But from what it's looking like, I've been blessed, especially overseas. I'm added to, if there were 50 stations, I'm added to 47 of them.
Wow.
And I'm blessed because I've been getting added and the song's been doing well. And I know that the song will do well on mainstream radio, but I'm not a major label. But now that I have Sony behind me, I don't think I should have a problem getting it to major radio. But I let all the artists know, listen, there are many artists that have made it on internet radio and have made it on their YouTube channels and have made it on other social media platforms. That platform is putting it out on their own. And to be honest with you, if you can make a difference with your music, that Main Street radio will pick it up. And if they pick it up, great. If not, you could still make a big impact. But I thank God every day that I've been getting a lot of great ads. And like I said, everybody can't, as a new artist, think that they're going to be added to mainstream radio right away. It's a struggle. Unless you got a $500,000 or $800,000 budget behind you for all radio, for press, for television, for this, for that, you have to have a machine behind you.
Yeah.
So for doing it the way I'm doing it, I have to tell you, organically, it's just happening, and I'm so blessed.
Yeah.
So blessed. Costa Rica, Ecuador, and I think porque como tú estabas hablando que la música estaba, de urbano y bachata, reggaetón, estaba bien como pegado, here, que estaba sonando todo el día, todo muy popular.
Yeah.
Y pues, te estaba bajando la salsa. But you know what? If you're a salsa singer and you want to do that, tú tienes que viajar a Sudamérica, porque ahí está gozando la salsa. Then keep going there and giving them your music, doing your stuff, because you're still living your dream and your passion is still there.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm on the radio and the fans are enjoying the music, I'm okay if it's not a mainstream or if it's not an internet radio. Wherever I'm playing is because I'm...
Yeah. Yeah, mira, ahora mismo en Perú, la salsa está dando muy duro. I interviewed Sergio George here a couple of, I think about a month ago. Y él tiene una muchacha que se llama, creo que Janjaira Plasencia, really out of Perú. And, I mean, super, tons of millions of followers. Y él me dice que allá la salsa está bateando, que está, so, I agree with you. I think, like, in South America, and if you focus on places where they are supporting the genre, then just focus all your energy there. Because eventually, eventually, I feel it all comes back full circle. I feel that.
I agree.
Yeah, I feel that it all comes back, and ya si la gente se está cansando ya de reggaetón o de música urbana o lo que sea, I think that they'll say, you know what, okay, I'm not 17 anymore. I'm now 37. I want to hear something a little more chill, more mellow, more consentimiento.
Well, we got like Alex Sensation, he's still playing salsa nights. He's going, doing his thing in his yard. Because of the pandemic, como uno estaba en la casa, he's been DJing and he kills it like with the salsa.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like, estás haciendo, regreso a la salsa. But, it's starting to happen now, thank God. But I'm excited to be part of the, the resurgence of it all, because I've been working tan fuerte para tener un éxito con no solamente uno sencillo, but with an album.
Yeah.
I want this whole album to do well. I want to be nominated. And honestly, if I win awards, I win awards. But the greatest gift for me is the applause. Just the applause from the people, the fans, showing up to see the concert. That's my full reward there. That beats any other reward.
Yeah.
If the other rewards come, great. I'll be happy for them. And I'll appreciate them because I work hard for them, but the fans motivate.
Yeah, absolutely. So this new record, El Pez Muere por la Boca, who produced this record?
That was produced by Junito Davila, who's also worked with Sergio George. And it was written by Jorge Piloto and Joel Enriquez. So,
I actually have it here. I want to play a little bit of it because it's a dope record, man. It's a really nice record. Damn, you still got that voice. Look at that voice. Brenda K Starr, Acapella podcast.
Quien te escucha se avergüenza.
vergüenza, porque siempre estás en guerra con el mundo.
Yo, this shit is hot. Wow, very. Wow. Wow, very well produced, very well produced. Very, óyeme, la voz tuya es muy melódica y todavía, you sound like the Herida Brenda K Starr. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, todavía tiene esa voz todavía que tú la escuchas, and you know, it's a signature voice.
Thank you. I'm trying. I was saying today, we went on a boat ride just to kind of like decompress and get out, being that the summer's already over. So I was singing on the boat, and I was like, wow, I've been singing like for over 2 months straight because I've been doing all these interviews. So I made an appointment for my throat doctor because I say to myself, we work a lot, even if it's from home now. Now, even more, we're doing double work.
Yeah.
In fact, I really want to stay more connected and relevant.
Yeah.
And but thank you for that, because Thursday I got a recording to do another song in Salsa, which I'm super excited about. I can't pronounce the guy's first name is Yahid. I can't remember his last name. He's probably going to rip my head off. But we're doing another Salsa song. And then I've had 3 more submissions of some English ballad songs. I got 2 ballads, and then I got another up-tempo. So, I mean, you know, I'm excited. There's a lot of nice things going on.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, Brenda, I'm out of questions. Ya te pregunté todo lo que quería preguntarte.
Thank you for such a great time interview.
Yes,
and
yes.
Spending your time with me and sharing my story with everybody, because if it wasn't for you, nunca pude tener esta oportunidad para conocer mis seguidores y toda esta sintonía, sintonizado. But, you know, just thank you for just offering me this interview so I could, you know, relate with all my fans and let the whole story come out about everything, my career and what it is I'm doing and how hard I'm working to make this come true. And if it comes true for me, it comes true for you. So
yeah, listen, you know, and I likewise, I appreciate you taking out of your time and doing this. You know, I know that we all have to prepare and do all this stuff, so it takes a bit. And we've been talking for like an hour, and I planned for about 35, 40 minutes, but you know, la conversación no, estaba buena la conversación y aprendí mucho and you look great, by the way. And so, you know, got this nice record out and you have your game plan going. So esperamos que hay Brenda K Starr para rato y espero verte por ahí en un show pronto. You know, and I'll be there rooting for you because I'm a big fan and you know, you've done so many things. You literally have done it all. And like I said at the beginning, you've done from movies to acting to this, a radio jock. This, like, you've done a lot of things in your life, and you should really feel accomplished. You've gone full circle, and you really should feel accomplished. And you know, not a lot of people can say that. You know, and you perform in both markets. You have fans that don't speak Spanish and fans that don't speak English, and you know, so, y ya, me voy con esto lo dejo because, you know, like I said, it was an amazing interview. So, thank you so much. Brenda K Starr.